Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? Or good afternoon, wherever you're at. We've got a really cool show for you today. Very, very cool panel. We're going to be discussing community, we're going to be discussing art, and we're going to be discussing crypto and how all of these things just kind of work together. It's a fascinating topic as far as I'm concerned because this is a new thing, right? I mean, we take it for granted because we're into space all the time, but what is this really? And it does deserve its own discussion. We've got some really cool guests. We've got Petoshi.btc. He's an OG. We're going to introduce him here shortly. We got the Doc, another Stacks OG. We've got Gigapeppy. If you guys don't know Gigapeppy, you just haven't been paying attention. And of course, we've got Peace, Love, Music. And we're going to go over those intros in a second. While we're doing intros, we do want to thank our partner for this episode, Velar. They made this possible. This shouldn't surprise you. Velar is from the community and for the community. If you don't know about Velar, it is a groundbreaking DeFi liquidity protocol that's on Bitcoin. So you're talking about leveraging the security and robustness of Bitcoin through multiple Bitcoin LPs, including the granddaddy of them all, Stacks. And this allows you to take financial services and put them together with the biggest and most secure cryptocurrency, arguably the greatest currency ever created, Bitcoin. In terms of Velar, what is it? Well, it's a DEX, it's an AMM. It's also got a lot of just outstanding features, some added pretty recently. For instance, if you use the Xverse wallet for your crypto degen shenanigans, because of Velar, you can swap asset to asset right from your wallet. It's pretty crazy. It's traditionally, if you wanted to make, like, let's say I wanted to make a Rue to Velar swap. Well, Rue doesn't have a Velar pair. Rue has a Stacks pair, STX pair. But through Velar's just gigabrain tech, they can do multi-hops and you can make that trading pair directly. In addition to that, Velar is bringing the very first perp DEX to Bitcoin. Okay, this is pretty wild. It's already on BitLayer. It's on Bob, two of the other L2s on the Bitcoin ecosystem, and it's coming to Stacks. So you'll be able to not just hedge with up to 10 times leverage. You can just go ahead and degen, and you can do this completely decentralized, which is the name of the game. Most recently with Velar, we've also seen the addition of USDH, which is the Hermeticify based stablecoin, Bitcoin backed stable. If you haven't seen our episode about Hermeticify, I strongly suggest you watch it. There's a lot of good information there to learn. So if you don't know about Velar yet, learn about Velar. This is just scratching the surface. One of the coolest things going on in the Stacks ecosystem as far as I'm concerned. And we do appreciate them sponsoring and helping us with this episode. Okay, so off to introductions. First, a man who needs no introduction. We got Peace, Love, Music of Deorganized Media. If you haven't heard Peace talk or seen him, you're just not paying attention. How's it going today, brother?
Going great, man. Going great. Thank you for the warm introduction. Excited to be on there with this awesome panel of guests. Some really cool guys in the space, man. Always a pleasure chatting with you, my brother.
100%. We got Gigapeppy. Spaceship Club, man. You can't have an episode about art and community without having GPSC on here, because not only did he start bootstrapping the Gigapeppy Spaceship Club just on his own back in the day, but now he is just working community with community, bringing art and good vibes all over Stacks. How's it going today, man?
Doing great, man. Honored to be here with you guys, building and moving the needle with you guys.
Man, this is going to be a great episode.
It's been awesome.
And
It's been great.
dude, it for 100%. And then very excited to have Mark with us here today from everyone knows about Pepe, the biggest meme arguably in crypto. And everyone knows about Pepe on Ethereum. What you did not know is that Mark is the dev behind Bitcoin Pepe, which actually hit Stacks before Pepe hit Ethereum, which is really cool. In addition to that, Mark is also he's a host of his own podcast, The Crypto Economy. He is an OG in the very real sense. He's been in this game a long time. Very, very just knowledgeable guy. Thanks for joining us today, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well, and thank you so much for the kind words. I love being around cool builders who are doing things for the right reasons, who are hustling, and this is just such a great group. I've been wanting to hang out with all you guys together for a while now, so I'm super excited to be here.
Thanks for coming, man. We appreciate you. And then we have Doc, the Doc.btc, who is back with us. He was having a little technical difficulty. Doc was one of my very first friends in the Stacks ecosystem. He's a Stacks advocate. He has been a community builder through Stacks London. He NFT Clothing Club. He's also an avid photographer, and he's got a really cool NFT collection coming up really quick here as well. So we thought that Doc would make it a absolute great addition to this panel today as we talk about art and community. How's it going today, Doc?
Oh, pretty good, man. I realized that really cool collection, the file for it is way too large to try and run this stream and open that file on my computer. My computer's still frozen at the moment, so I had to rejoin off my phone. So I might not be able to give any sneak peeks of that today, unfortunately.
Well, it's good. I'm glad you're here. If we had to choose between the art and you, we'd rather have you here today with us.
Honestly,
so yeah,
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for the beautiful welcome.
Oh no, this is cool, man. So guys, one of the things that I personally think is so cool about what we do here in the space is that so much of this is new. It's literally new for humans, not at the fundamental level, right? I mean, at the fundamental level, communities that people are social. There's always been communities. People, I think, to be human is to be creative. So you've always had art, but the way that we're bringing these things together now on the blockchain, if you're on Bitcoin in a decentralized manner. But I think it's a very interesting dynamic. So I really do want to hear, especially from the artists first, because I can appreciate art. I love art. I can't personally draw a stick man to save my life, but I'm really fascinated about this. So real quick, what does art mean to you, and then what really how is it meaningful in crypto? Like, because I have some ideas, but I want to hear straight from the horse's mouth. Who wants to go first? Let's get right into this.
I'll jump in here.
Oh yeah. I'll let you go first for real.
Yeah. What art means to me really is, it's a way to express what you're feeling, how you're feeling. It's a way to connect. And I think that it's like a really important thing. Like it really gives you an outlet to really get your point across in a different way. I think that it could bring visibility to things that people wouldn't necessarily would look at all. They might just skip straight over it because it might get a little dry. So like I think it's a good way to get a point across and a good thing to connect with other people on.
Okay, cool. I can dig that. How about you, Mark? What you got to say, my friend?
Oh man, I'm a stick figure guy like you. I can't speak for artists, but I will say, like, I can appreciate it. We got the meme, and I mean, the great thing about our community is I have so many of these creatives and artists that are just contributing like incredible stuff. We have one community member made an entire song that's been stuck in my head for like a week, and she got a music video with it. Like, that's what I love. If you could just create something that inspires a bunch of other artists to come and tack on their additional creativity to it. So just being able to, get that community together so everyone can bounce off each other and make even better art, like that's what gets me excited. But don't say, I'm not going to say I'm the artist. That's for
sure. No, fair enough, man. It's cool though, because like what Gigapeppy was saying just a moment ago, it's a way to kind of say things in a different way and make it land in a way that it might not land otherwise. And so what is a meme? Right? That's exactly what a meme is. I don't think there's any accident why, when you think of meme coins, you think of the dog, or you think of the cat, or you think of the frog, or what have you, right? So there's something to that, and I'm hoping that as we go through this, we can really find the gold there. How about you, Doc? What you're a photographer. You've got this really cool collection coming out. I've been able to see some of it. It's a form of hybrid art that I really dig. What's art mean to you in the context of crypto?
So I want to tack on to what Giga was saying, because it's definitely a way to express yourself. It's a way to connect with others. I found art to be also a cool way, like Giga was saying, to collaborate. I mean, we collaborated quite a few times over these past couple weeks alone, you know what I mean, on some fucking killer shit. I mean, whoops, my bad.
Say what you want, man.
Okay, no. So we just destroyed some stuff, and it was fun. It's a great way to like express yourself, but at the same time, I mean, we don't only do this to express ourselves, but we do it for the people to enjoy it. You know what I mean? I don't do photography just for myself. I do it for others to enjoy. You know what I mean? So it's just this. I can't really find the words, but it's almost this way of giving to others in like a visual sort of way.
Cool. I like that. So Peace, what you got to say, man? Like you're a thoughtful dude. Interested in what you say.
Yeah, I definitely have some thoughts. Real quick, I want to just shout out. We have a couple people saying hi. Reese, you guys all know Reese. Reese is saying hello, giving some mad props to Gigapeppy, our brother. And Landy says hi. And Nobody Famous says hi. And I'll get to Landy's other comments in a minute because they're going to be amusing. But it's art in the space is how we build the community. The artists bring the community. Artists and entertainment options in the space are what helps grow the whole ecosystem, because it gives people something to do here. So it's a very, very important component of this. And yeah, it's all communicative as far as, just expressing ideas and provoking thought. That's what art is. So yeah, these guys that produce some amazing art, and even though not art isn't always just there's an art to building a meme coin community, and there's an art to building there's an art to podcasting to a degree. It is also a communicative art. So we're all artists in a way, right? So that's what I have to say about that. And then I also just want to say Landy says when he thinks of meme coins, he gets moist or something.
Yeah.
But he also thinks of Rue.
I happen to be in the moist camp. Okay, the moist socks. That's the way to go, man.
Yeah, of course you are, Jack. Of course you are. You put a lot of work in, so your socks get moist. There's a lot of beautiful work there. But at some point, you gotta get fresh and change your socks. I mean, it's just the natural cycle of things.
Only if you like to waste money. But I digress. We'll go into the big sock.
Come on, Jack.
The money in time to change them. Like, who's got time for that shit?
You know what I think is very interesting in crypto, and it's one of the more endearing things to me, actually. Um, you know, we live in a world that's very divisive, right? But this isn't really how people are. You know, like if you go out in your community, you know, and you have normal interactions, you don't experience this crazy divisiveness that you see online. Do you know where you don't see the divisiveness online? You see it in crypto. And what do you see in crypto? You see these cartoon avatars, these PFPs, right? All of these, and it's like, to me, I think there's something beautiful there, right? Because it does kind of just cut straight through whatever whatever you want to ascribe to the malice and divisiveness that we see so often. We just kind of cut straight through that. I'm wondering, why do you think that is? Why do you think that in this space, you know, doing these things, that people can just kind of vibe based on memes, art, meme coins, you know, all of these different things? What do you think makes crypto kind of unique in today's cultural zeitgeist, especially as it relates to online?
I
Is
think
that
we've got a
taken?
lot of. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. I wasn't sure who he was directing that
Okay,
at. Go ahead,
I'll take it. I think for
Or-
one, I've noticed you have a lot of like early adopters, forward thinkers, people who like want to see like what's next in society in the future. And I feel like a lot of early adopters tend to somewhat come together on and focus on like how do we make things better? How do we improve the future? How do we like actually, make our stamp on this? And I think it's in a way it's diluted sort of all of human wants and needs into this very simple culture where it's like we want community and we want a better life for our families or the people around us and we want to have a good time. Like those three things, pretty much what everyone wants all the time. And that's what brings all people together. It's really that simple. And there's a lot of argument as to like how we get to those things, which is probably where a lot of the argument comes from. But I think a lot of people in crypto and especially in these communities kind of agree on what those things are. Let's make memes. Let's promote our projects. Let's all come together when we need each other and support each other however we can. And so the culture has just kind of, I think, has been created around what really matters to people, and it's just simpler to get behind. Is my opinion on it.
No, and I think you said a key word there: culture. I think that crypto is the most significant countercultural movement that we've had, at least like speaking from someone in the United States, right? Since probably the 1960s, you know. And I think that's where the art and all of these things, that's like our symbols, right? Like Pepe is our tie-dye, right? Like it's kind of like, I don't know. What do you think, Kevin? What do you think about that, Giga Pepe?
I agree. I agree with what Mark and you are both saying. It is like a symbol. It's like it's our stance with these people. You meant these PFPs, and like immediately makes you feel like you're part of something bigger. It's just very simple. I think, and it's fun too. So it makes it very easy to do these things. And if you wanted to be part of this culture, all you have to do is participate, and it makes it readily available for other people to get into, different communities just by minting. So it's definitely something that is going to change the way that people think and feel. It really hits you in the feels whenever like you get an awesome mint. You're going through a brand new PFP collection, and you're there with your buddies like minting it, and you're talking in chat with them, talking about which ones you've got. Like, oh, I've got this Leo cat, for example, and they just minted out a 10K NFT collection in less than 5 hours. So it's just like, and everybody was chatting while I was doing it. It's all about community and feeling like you're like part of something bigger than what you are.
You know, I think that there's something there because, for one, I don't know, like when you get into the individual community aspect of it, you know, it's, and I think it was Trippin' Monkey who may have alluded to this in a space not that long ago. I thought it was a great analogy. Like it's almost like sports teams in a way. right? You have, you have your mascots, you have your, performance, you have all of these different things. So I think it's a it kind of ties into something, very primitive inside of us. But by the same token, you're also talking about the absolute cutting edge of technology, which makes for an interesting dichotomy for sure. Doc, you're someone, you've been around since the early days of Stacks. Um, you've actually participated in, live events with that focus on community building and so forth. Like, what's your take on where like the Stacks blockchain is right now relative to where it was when you started? And what is it like when you're like trying to onboard people in person or getting to know people in person and talking to them about this magical internet money that they can barely conceive of?
So okay, I'm muted. Cool. So that's a lot to unpack right there. When I first came into Stacks, I want to say it was late 2021, early 2022, and I had actually met you in the advocacy. You know what I mean, Stacks advocates. In early 2022, the ecosystem had some cool things going on, but I think like the main big things that were going on at that time were like Megapont. There was the Parrots. You had, what was it? You had like the Minotauri, which ended up rugging, but like the ecosystem was like in its baby steps. Like it was like a toddler trying to like walk. You know what I mean? It kept falling on its ass. it, it it's crazy to see like the amount of wallet addresses that have since like come on, started using Stacks since 2022.
Yeah, and
The
back then
amount
it
of
was
like new faces who have come on, like it's not a bad thing. And then in that same sense, you want to dive into like what the in real life events were like. And I only made it to one out in London. I helped co-found Stacks London because what had happened from the advocates is we came into advocates and we saw like there weren't a lot of people in the ecosystem, and me and my buddy Nat, who co-founded Bigger Pick Atlas, however you know him as in the ecosystem. He goes to a lot of Bitcoin events and he went to a lot of crypto events, and like one thing that wasn't being talked about in the time was Stacks. So we had started putting on in real life meetups and events focused around Bitcoin and Stacks to start trying to onboard people. And it was just actually pretty insane seeing those come to life, getting to connect with others, because everyone has like their own ideas and ideologies of what they want to create and build or what they want to bring. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So getting a lot of those people in the same room and talking can always lead to some pretty interesting conversations.
It was cool too because back then, it was pretty much just NFTs on Stacks. There were a few collections, there were some independent artists putting things out, but there wasn't a whole lot going on because the ecosystem was so young. It was still
Right.
trying.
Not
trying to
many
get
things
older.
DeFi. There wasn't a lot of infrastructure at all. And like, I mean, Block Survey was kind of around then. I believe, I'm trying to think of some old ones, but like some of like even the old projects aren't here. You know what I mean? That were. So it's crazy to see like the people who stayed, like Jack stayed in this space. You know what I mean? Um, You got Haas, who's still here. Hero's still here. Like, there's a lot of people still here from quite a few years ago. That's just like, holy hell, okay. And then in that same sense, like you were talking about with like the communities, it gives you a sense of belonging. You know what I mean? It gives you a sense of connection with other people. So that's, I mean, it just kind of all bundles together, and I hope that made sense to you guys.
No, 100%, dude. Like it was back then. Like the concerns with stacks was making sure you could get builders right. No one knows this clarity language. Everyone knows, everyone's in Ethereum, right? So
Yeah.
nobody's doing anything with clarity. But it's just in that short period of
Everyone
time.
knew Rust. Yeah, it was Rust that like everyone was learning in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Now, like you don't even have to know clarity to launch a token, right? Like it's just a completely. I don't know, the growth since then has been pretty explosive. Um, as someone who's just been in crypto for as long as you have, Mark, what do you think about, not just the art part, but the actual communities and what that means to a meme? What do memes mean to communities? And what does this need all mean for blockchains and like taking everything into the future?
I mean, so I've been doing this legit like 10 years. I've got fucking grays in my beard, like you wouldn't believe. I'm 29. And so I've been through it. But I mean, I've stuck around it because the people I meet have always just been like my favorite people for the most part. Just such good people generally. And there were times like during the ICO craze and some of the DeFi stuff, you got some sketchier characters coming in and there's money to be made and people were claiming they were building, not really building, rugging people, and that era really frustrated me. And I just kind of took time off from the whole ETH world, and I was like, screw these guys. I'm not paying $1,000 in gas, and then having some guy never deliver his project, and so I was a little frustrated. But then when I found Stacks, I was like, this is just like all my favorite parts, brought back together. The right people doing it for the right reasons, who really care about this stuff. And I found just a lot of really legit builders, which I think is, probably one of the most important things is you attract all that talent, which typically has been hard to get, I think, because, if things are scammy and sketchy and there's real risk involved, you are going to get some sketchier characters who just aren't doing it for the right reasons. But I just found at Stacks that was really the case. And so these like really tight communities that have formed where everyone knows each other, there's a lot of trust, there's a lot of really great and passionate artists that are coming together. I mean, like this shirt I'm wearing, nobody famous in the audience, she's here to support. She sent me this shirt. She was just like, I made this shirt, and it's an awesome shirt. I love this thing. Um, and so just seeing people do that and seeing, within our NFT community, when they went out, people were just like, oh man, this one really reminds me of you. I'm going to send it to you right now. And so that like generosity really like breeds onto itself in the same way that the opposite does. When everyone's getting rugged and everyone's scamming each other, it creates that culture of like, let's just PvP this into the ground. And then you create the opposite culture where it's like, let's just give what we can. Let's give back what we can. And then people really do seem to be generous as a result. If they mint a free PFP and, they know someone else in the community really wants it, like they'll give it away. And that's what's sick to me. And not just that, community members who I've been like, okay, you've been crushing it. Like, can I give you a little Pepe? And then I'll turn around and I'll find out they just gave it to the other guy. He was like, honestly, I thought this guy was really crushing it more, so I gave it to him. And so, I don't know. I've seen that more here in Stacks than anywhere else. And I think the meme coins have done a great job. And, just the cool NFTs have done a great job of like bringing in artists, bringing in a lot of people who, are not just in it to make an extra buck, who are not just, farming like crazy with crazy algorithms and 1,000 wallets. And, it creates the culture you want. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that quite answers the question, but that's been my experience.
No, I think it is good, and it's good insight for people, especially people who are new here, because there's always been that thing that I've always liked to call it the Bitcoin ethos. That but that's basically what it encapsulates. And as Saks gets bigger, I do still think you're going to have like, okay, when you get fast blocks on Stacks, you're going to start seeing like much bigger names with big following accounts with allocations pushing stuff, right? And so that's coming. I mean, there's no two ways about that. But by the same token, like there's also a point where we're now in a slightly different paradigm with well, okay, so for today, for instance, they announced that in the United Arab Emirates, I believe, where there's no more taxes on crypto transactions, right? And you have all of this institutional investment and interest here in the United States. um, I think there's a point where, like, those old models that you were talking about, coming from ETH, I know exactly what you mean, right? Where those are going to eventually fail, right? So I think that's one of the things that keeps, like, me passionate about, you know educating, and peace passionate about educating, because, like, I think we're really getting to the point where that old model is going to just have diminishing returns. And I think you're seeing that on other chains right now. Not just because of the fractured liquidity, because of, like, your pump funds and so forth, but as institutions and bigger players get involved, like, the space is going to naturally mature anyway. And but I think that the gap between that and where we are now lies in the education piece. What do you think about that piece? I'm interested to see, your thoughts. That's something I've
Oh,
been thinking about a lot lately.
yeah, man. I mean, obviously, so there are a ton of things happening at the community level, specifically in Stacks and in the broader crypto ecosystem too, because we're, speaking to the earlier question about the ethos and or why we're here and what people are building for, and that's resonating in what's being built. It's got the ethos behind it, and that's why it's, don't get me wrong, you got bad actors. There's people are always going to exploit opportunities, right? So you're always going to have bad actors, but we're a community that's designed to allow everyone to participate, and then through that collective participation, it creates structures that make us all less vulnerable to these bad actors, or kind of can help mitigate some of that risk collectively. And so, you take the response to the charisma hack, and we've had space after podcast of people talking this around and what's going on, and how do we improve this, and how do we make sure that there's better auditing, and how do we make sure that the community's stronger. And Pete from Velar, Visions from Velar, has had a few conversations with the higher ups about some of that stuff, and the Stacks Link project that's being built out, where that's kind of an extension on a lot of stuff's coming out of D Grants, which is a Stacks Foundation project, where Stacks Link is now this kind of community based group of volunteers of people in the space. Jack's part of it. Lots of people involved. There's like 20 some odd people that are providing a support network for artists and creators and builders in the space. And out of that, now we're also building this security focus group, and that's going to help take a community focused. So if the community is involved, this is actually something that kind of was solidified. It's kind of been in the works for a while in a lot of the channels we've been talking about. But if the community is involved in the processes of developing these tools, and or there's a community focused point in the process, then the tools that get built out are that much more effective and robust with the community input, because the tools are then designed to be useful to the community that you're trying to actually engage with these tools. So like Hero's trying to get more people involved in the SIP process, and now we've kind of added a dimension to the SIP calls that happen on Friday, where we're going to have more community engagement in the innovation side, where people bring your ideas. It doesn't have to be actually a SIP ready idea, but for those that don't know, it's Stacks Improvement Proposal. is what a SIP, and if it gets approved, that means that the community is adopting it as a standard. You don't have to have a standard in order to do something, but if the community is getting involved collectively in this one point where we're talking about the SIPs that are already out there, the future SIPs, the more community engagement there, the better the SIPs are to serve everybody. So to that end, yeah, the more information we can get out there, the more education we can do for people in the space. That means we're going to onboard the people we onboard are going to be more valuable when they engage in the space as well. And so it's like cyclical. So it's creating a value cycle versus being an extractive process, which happens a lot in other crypto communities.
No, that's good insight. And yeah, for those of you who don't know about the SIP standards, I have an article on that on my website. It's kind of simplifies how that works. It's really cool because Stacks is decentralized. It's not a software company, so when you need to figure out how to make things happen in a decentralized organization, this is the process by which you make it happen. Um, that's some good insight there for sure. Gigapeppy, man, like everybody seems to be coming to you to do art for their projects these days, right? Whether it meme tokens, what have you, whether it's trying to do some promo, like, and I mean, you've got at the core, you've got the Pepe, you've got like this really cool style and way you present the art. But for one, like, just how's that feel? Like, how's that feel to be like the go-to guy to help bring exposure, right, and add value to these communities that you may have not even been a part of.
It feels great, man. I like that I can provide value to someone else through my artwork, and that people actually like it. It circles back to that community point we were making earlier. Like, to be able to contribute something that'll help other people connect and help get the builders the visibility that they deserve. It makes me feel great. It's an honor that people really like the stuff that I'm putting out there, and I feel like I've really found my calling. It's in my bio on the GPSC official X account. I'm here to contribute and participate in the culture of Stacks. And that's exactly what I mean. If I can help somebody that is just getting their start in Stacks, that makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. And it also helps me kind of get an idea of what they're trying to build, and getting close to that, because like I'm not a developer myself. I don't know Clarity, so it kind of gives me some insight on what's going on, gives me a scoop, and I think that that's a really cool thing, because I get a perspective that others aren't privileged with, and people trust me to tell me these things, like, hey, I have this idea, and it's super like secret, please don't share, and like they have that, they can confide in me to tell me these things, and of course that's an awesome thing to get excited for in this space, to get to see what's being built behind the scenes. So that's my take, man. I'm really privileged to be
And
Can,
it's cool
here.
can I just say something real quick? So
yeah
while he was saying that, he's 100% right, because I was talking to him one night on a call. Like, yeah, I had this idea for this collection, right, where I use one of my photography pieces and then, basically create traits over it. You know what I mean? And I was on the verge of like pitching the whole fucking idea. The whole idea. I was going to take it, crumple it, throw it in the recycle bin, and empty that thing completely. Gone forever. You know what I mean? And if it weren't for my conversation that night with Crypto Bear Baker, Giga Pepe, whatever you want to call him, I would have done it. I would have done it. I wouldn't have even. And, and in this collection, it shows my progress of learning my arts, like computer artwork skills as well. Like I'm not gonna get rid of the old shitty traits either. Like those will be in there, you know what I mean? But like a lot of these have been cranking out. Like if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have even started this idea and gone on this journey. So thanks, man. I do appreciate that.
No, that's cool. And there's a lesson there too. I think one thing that we see in the space, you don't see it as much in stacks, but you see it a lot in crypto in general is gatekeeping, right? And people talk about like the cabal and these kinds of things. And so I mean what Doc just said personified the opposite of gatekeeping, right? Like, oh, well, why should you put art out? I'm like the hot art guy right now. No, why should instead it's like, no, dude, like, yeah, this is cool. Let's collab a little bit and make something awesome. Um, because gatekeeping comes from a scarcity mentality, right? And it's tough because like when you get, there's and I think this goes back to what you were saying, Peace, because there's so many people who want to do things and they might have their heart in the right place. And then there's so many people who want to do things to try to get over. And like, you want to know like how to be supportive, but also like casting a jaundiced eye because you don't want to like, help proliferate some kind of new, value extraction scam that's coming out. But so I think that goes back to what you were talking about in terms of like all of these different tools that's being developed within the community to help bring people together and kind of create this synergy towards making good stuff while still being completely open and available to anybody, right? Because that's
Exactly.
that's what it's really about. Like Zero Authority DAO, like their original mission is like you don't need permission, right? You don't,
Exactly.
you know. So that's really
Right.
cool. Oh,
Yeah,
you
man,
want to
it's
add?
it's exactly. I love what Zero Authority DAO is building out. By the way, I think that's an integral piece to the on-chain reputation side, the gig marketplace side, the other tools that they're building out on there. They might end up actually being a place for with the reputation piece. If we were creating a security score system from a community level, it would make sense that they would have a hand in some of that process too with what they're building out. And tremendous OGs in the space, right? Um, but yeah, it's about having tools that the community can use and want to use, right? They got to want to use these tools. So if you're building a bunch of stuff that has a lot of bells and whistles, but it's not actually serving what the end users really want, it's not going to work. It's not going to make it. So right now we have an opportunity where there's a lot of effort being put into kind of almost creating this central hub for the community to be directed towards in onboarding and supporting for builders and stuff like that. And I think that that's going to be a key factor in the long-term success of Stacks. I think Stacks in the short term is poised for a lot of success once we have fast blocks and there's already there's a lot of really cool things being developed in the space. I see that there's a foundation also being put in place where it's going to be very sustainable moving forward, if we can get the users here, which I think we will.
No, I no doubt. And like to speak to Doc can speak to this, Mark can speak to this. If you look at Stacks today versus Stacks 2022, it's a completely different ball game, right? Like there was like I don't know what, maybe a few hundred people active, back then, and now you see hundreds of new people a week, like easily, and it's been a real slow organic build, and getting back to memes, art plays a big part in memes, obviously. This very powerful way that you can just like force an idea into someone's head visually is just, it's fascinating in and of itself. um what do you think? Do you think that's going to what do you think about memes going forward, right? Because okay, if you get to meme coins, there used to be the idea that okay, this is Doge is the meme coin because it doesn't do anything, right? It's just this other meme out there. It doesn't do anything, and then you start getting into relevant cultural memes. But now you're at a part where the culture produces memes quickly. It's not just like this countercultural thing anymore. Like think about Hak Twa, right? Like that was a culturally produced meme, and it's already kind of like faded out. So like if someone made like a Hak Twa token, it's probably has seen its better days. So is a meme token about the meme itself, or is it about the token itself? Give me some thoughts about meme tokens and how they relate to the zeitgeist.
Oh, I mean that's a hard one, but I think what brings people initially to the memes is the meme itself. It's how much do I identify with this? Is this something I can get behind that maybe is something that I can understand? And then I think the community is what ultimately makes them stick. So I think a lot of these like fly by night pump and dump memes on Solana that are kind of like accelerating what was a 10-year process into 24 hours, where people are 100% into the community and then 100% out the next day when everyone decides they aren't anymore. It's going to be harder and harder to build lasting memes, I think. I met a lot of dudes on Solana who are like, they looked at Pepe and they're like, I'm going to make a meme on Solana. And then like 2 days later, the charts just bump and then they give up and they go away. And so part of it is, it's like being an entrepreneur. You need to build a lasting culture. You need to make sure people are included, they're represented. Like one thing we did with Pepe is for our NFTs, I just put out a Google form for all of the traits. And I was like, hey, community members, tell me what you want to see. Like, I don't have a monopoly on good ideas for this stuff. Just tell me what traits would represent you that you would be excited about that other communities maybe haven't done or haven't thought about. And I think they came out awesome because they kind of represent a little piece of every person in there. And hopefully everyone got something that they felt represented them. And I hope that that'll make it stronger going forward. And I think ultimately meme coins are kind of the future of work. It's kind of this financial instrument that you don't need to understand like how much EBITDA we have at what multiple valuation we're judging it by, which is just arbitrary anyway. Oh, we're 40xing tech, we're 80xing, like not all of it's bullshit to begin with. And this is something where it's just the attention economy. It's how well you can represent people. And I think because anyone can do that, people are going to see that as an opportunity to kind of opt out of the legacy systems where they don't have that edge, where it is all like, oh, missiles are being fired tomorrow. Someone put a short out 2 days ago, and you're like, okay,
Right.
cool. So someone just knows. But with a meme coin, that's just not how it is. The VCs aren't involved. The institutions aren't involved yet. They probably will be, but they'll be just as bad as picking winners as they are with other things. So I think because people have that edge, it'll be really interesting to see how it evolves and see how people like work for these communities in the same way that they would work for their job or for their investments otherwise.
I think that's good insight, and it is because meme coins at the fundamental level are it's a very easy way to like onboard people into crypto in general, right? Like one of the things, if you harken back to the early days of stacks, you see this with developers, because my background in crypto is just degen trading kind of guy. And so like you get to know some of the developers and they're like they don't understand like the degen mindset at all. you know they understand I'm building this thing and this thing is cool, and I'm going to put it out there, and then they see some just ridiculous meme somewhere else get $1 billion market cap for 24 hours and then crash. um but the thing is, the degens, the memes, they bring liquidity, right? Because you could, even if you take stacks, for instance, where it's like Ethereum on Bitcoin, if you just wanted to explain what stacks is to just someone who's crypto native but hasn't been into Bitcoin L2 system, you say, okay, it does what Ethereum can do, except on Bitcoin, right? And you can get that, you can understand that, but until like there's liquidity chasing after something, following something, you don't even get to like the really cool stuff, right? Like the devs have really put together to make these other things, and so you have that onboarding aspect that's so important, and then you have the community that's built from it, which again comes from, I think, a deeply primitive part of what it means to be a human, to belong to something, to be a part of something bigger than you. Then you have like what you're saying, which I think is a very wise insight in terms of work just in general is going to completely change as we know it, right? Um, so then you have that part as well, and then you have the art, you have the expression, you have the creativity. There's a reason why none of us on this stage representing just tens of thousands of hours of experience can think of like a successful meme coin that's just strictly alphanumeric, right? There's just no, it just could have the best tokenomics in the world, but there's nothing there to identify it, right? So you have all of these things working together to create this new paradigm. And I think that a lot of people don't really know where this is going to go. So I think as we like start to close out the show here, I just want to kind of go around. We'll start with Gigapeppy. What do you think, like art, community, memes, all of these things in this space? What do you think they look like into the future? Because I believe that we're at like a genesis point with it. I don't think that the way it is today is going to be how it is a year from now. So I like to stay ahead of the curve. So what do you think this looks like going forward?
Sure.
We'll start
Yeah,
with you,
I think
Giga.
that memes. I think that memes are, you know, we're seeing them in their infancy right now, and we're going to see people want to work for the bags. The points that you and Mark and Peace have all made, of course, Doc too, um, are all they hit home for me. It really makes sense. It makes me think that, like, you'll see, like, say for instance, for Rue, for instance, you'll see people working for their bags. They'll come up with their own ideas, products for Rue, and it'll create its own economy around that base token. So I think that in the future we'll see more branching out and more the same thing, people working for their bags, and it's going to be awesome to see different IPs come from these meme coins, and different products coming from these meme coins. And that's my opinion. Like I think that we're in the very beginning. It's about to explode, and it really does level the playing field. These VCs and big players in the game, like little guys, have their shot and opportunity to get in early on these things, and potentially front run big investors. So um, this is only the beginning, and I'm really excited to see where it goes in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years.
One of the things that I'd like to see, especially as like crypto gets less demystified on the regulation part, like I'm the wrong one to have this conversation with, because I think regulations are bullshit. I think the Howey test was created like in the 1940s. I think its application to anything related to crypto is complete nonsense, right? I think all of these things need to be rethought. And I mean, just politically, I'm very much a libertarian in how I think people should be able to conduct themselves. And I think part of that's peer-to-peer transactions should be completely free. All that said, I think that one of the things that meme coins can do that we haven't seen done yet will be to create and fund further development on the blockchains, right? Almost like a sort of in-house crowdfunding, so to speak, right? I think that that's something that we're going to see more of going forward. I think it's something I'm personally very interested in. But anyway, so Peace, what do you think about the future of memes and community? Just looking ahead as much as we can.
So I think that everything's experimental right now, right? We're still kind of we're still figuring it out. And it's a lot of so that breeds a lot of opportunity for innovation and new ideas, and we're still kind of trying to figure out what are the best ways to motivate or incentivize the behaviors we're trying to incentivize with whatever project it is that we're working on. So I think meme coins are a way to kind of isolate certain communities, or I don't want to say isolate, but build like certain individual or separate communities that have shared interests, and you can build around those interests based on what that community is. So you got to figure out what your community is, and go there. I think that I mean, obviously there's a lot of extraction with meme coins. So it's not always the right play. Every project is different, right? And so it has to do with a number of factors. What does the future look like? I think you're going to see a lot of meme coins come and go. But I also think that you're going to see some projects that started out as just a meme coin turn into some like GPSC said with um, intellectual property, or like, yeah, I'm interested in reading the Gigaverse comics and seeing the video iterations of that and where that story goes, and what are they. I love the Pepe on Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Pepe community, and the NFTs that those guys are making, and there's some really cool conversation there. So it's just different ways to get um people connected, really, at the end of the day. So I think that there's a lot of that going to continue to happen. Some of it will happen up against um bad actors, or even unintentionally inefficient or ineffective actors, that maybe some people lose some money and learn some lessons that way, and that's always going to happen. But overall, I think that we have an opportunity here as a society to embrace the capacity for people to retain the value that they create, and to create value more openly. And I'm really excited about that. That's what I think is the future for this space.
Well, and two, you brought up something good, and I want to kick it over to Doc. As a photographer, how hard is it to get people to see your work? You know, outside of the blockchain, right? Like, so
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, like through different social media platforms, Facebook being a main one I use, and Instagram was a main one I used. It it all depends on the algorithm, really, and how well the artwork resonates with people, and then the demographics. And I found in this space, like right now with photography, as you've known, I've been experimenting in the space with photography for probably 2 years now, right? And like I did an auction with one piece or a couple pieces that like people, it really didn't kick off. So I'm like, well, maybe if I build a collection of it, that might help get the photography out there. You know what I mean? Um, so I was kind of hoping in this sense, the photography would be able to reach more people. Um, it's kind of it's definitely different. So I find like as an artist, like, yes, meme coins are fun and everyone can get behind them because, like, in the end, everyone's hoping they pump, right? Everyone wants to see their favorite meme go to the fucking moon. You know what I mean? Um, and trying, but like from an artwork aspect, people are still looking at that as like, okay, what value will this bring me in the long run? You know what I mean? So people are looking at that value aspect. And what I'm trying to do here with this, in a sense, is kind of bring that value aspect through the NFT collection. As I said, I think I'm gonna do like a 10,000 piece collection, charging like one stacks a piece. Like it's gonna be a super low mint fee, and I'm hoping that can actually maybe that helps be the future of like bringing photography in, because I'm going to be using the NFTs that as they mint out, once it mints out, I'm going to be raffling off the original piece without any traits over it. You know what I mean? Using the mint out. So I'm I'm just experimenting, man. It's all an experiment. It's gonna be interesting, and if it works, I mean, it's gonna bring value to the model for sure. It's gonna be bring value to myself, and I'm gonna use that to help build, kind of help build out an infrastructure for similar releases like that. So that's kind of my overall goal.
See, when you look at like what you're going, because I have an unfair advantage because I got to see some of what you're working on. So like if you look at incorporating your art with different communities, would you're immediately taking the exposure that could be harder for an artist to get, and it's organically, you have an audience built in for it right there, which then can help you with algorithms and so forth as you go, right? So I think that that's a very good example of how art and community can work together to actually strengthen both individual projects, individual communities, a collective of community, and the artist itself, right? And I mean, we've seen that we've used a lot of art on what we've done for Rue. Pepe, obviously, you have an absolute OG artist make y'all's most recent collection, right? And it's always very cool seeing that, right? Because people can, so I think that what Doc was describing is hard. It's hard to be discovered if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a writer, you know, outside of crypto. But if you leverage existing communities within crypto, you can really power up your exposure. And so
Yeah,
I think it's a good strategy. I think
and
that's the way to go.
and I'm really hoping with this collection more than anything that I can just make people laugh, because like I there's some pretty funny traits in there. So like I love like just making people laugh. So if I can make someone laugh with this, I'll be happy.
That's just it. Yeah, no, it's true. Like when when you look at the Peppies, the recent Peppy NFT collection, and you've got like this little frog flipping you off, like I mean, how funny is that, right? I mean, it's just it is, and it's a part of the cultural movement. And to me, I think that NFTs, when incorporated correctly, art when incorporated correctly with crypto, it becomes like now this is going to date me and Peace a lot here, but the coolest part, you're going to agree with exactly what I'm saying. I guarantee it. The coolest part of like getting a new album when you were a teenager was the art, right? Like it was the
Oh
inlay on the
yeah.
cassette, it was.
Yeah, you'd lay on the bed and open and you listen to the music and you'd read the inside of the, it was usually tape cassettes at that point, right? But they'd be folding out and there'd be all the artwork and stuff, and that was our internet. that's how we learned about stuff. You know, there wasn't an internet. We had magazines and album covers.
Right.
So,
No,
and
I
for the record, I almost always agree with just about everything you say, bro.
I think I think that's the right way to go about it. And I think that's one of the ways it really does tie all of these things together, right? Because if you have something and you have a community with beliefs and a message, and you have the art that drives that home in its own unique way, and then it creates the synergy where it's more exposure for everybody involved. And like Doc said, if you can laugh and have a good time, then it's even better, right? Like that's the icing on the cake. I guess before we log off here real quick, I'm just going to go around and ask you guys for some closing thoughts. If there's anything you want to tell the community about, by all means, please do. Gigapeppy, let's start with you.
Yeah. I always start with saying, like, keep loving the room, keep building, and keep the frequency high. But I've got some cool stuff coming. I've got the Trump collection coming up on the 15th that I'm looking forward to launching. We've got some collabs working. So if anybody's interested in getting some collabs done, just reach out. We can get you some whitelists for your community. Also looking forward to what Doc's working on. I've got a couple traits in that collection as well. Awesome collection, guys. Definitely connects with the DJ culture. Check out the Stacks Invaders. Loved working with you, Jack, on getting these backgrounds done, and Ian as well. And the 80 skins. Just so much, man. There's just too much to say in all one go, man. And just really privileged to be here talking with such awesome, smart people that know what they're doing and are for the community. So shout out to all you guys on this panel.
No, man, and you have been busy, and I've gotten to see a couple of those Trump NFTs too, and some of them are hilarious. One in particular that I will like fight somebody for. So I can't wait to see that. Mark, man, any parting words for us? Anything you want to talk about?
I mean, I kind of want to answer that last question real quick, just because I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think like going forward, like what is really going to matter, it's going to be less about can you build something, and it's going to be more about like, can you retain a community? Can you create a cult of personality, and can you just like do right by them? And I think we've had such a lack of that, even just as an entrepreneur. Every one of the people I've looked up to, I looked up to like Mark Cuban as a kid. I met the guy, I was like, oh, I fucking hate this guy. And it's just like, there has been like no one for like a young entrepreneur to look up to who has actually just like, been who they said they were, done the things they were saying they were going to do, which has always just frustrated me. And, I think I have the longest crypto podcast, not because it's the best, not because I put the most work into it. It's literally just because I never ran ads on it and never got paid off to show crap that screwed everyone over. And everyone else did. I watched the bankless guys. They'd be like $100 million or something. And I was like, I must be the biggest idiot in the world. But at the same time, they were just screwing people. And so if we can just start to like try to find those people, build like cults around people who like at least are like not trying to screw them over. And I think people are getting better at identifying those people. Like reputation is starting to follow people a little more, especially like as people are getting comfortable enough to like be a little more doxxed. So I'm inspired by that. I think we need to build a generation of like thought leaders who like actually deserve the title and who will like hopefully stand up for people. And I think everyone in Stacks who I've met have like really seemed like those type of people, which is really what inspires me. And I think when all the KOLs and the shills start to come over, I'm hoping people remember the guys who've been through it and thick and thin and, are there for them. But as far as, stuff for Pepe, just please join our Discord, join our Telegram. Our NFTs are still minting. Would love to see you, finding something that you like. And other than that, just if you have art, if you have anything you'd like to contribute, you want to just come make memes with us. It's really that simple.
No, that's a great answer and a great sentiment. And you're right, man. Like that was always that just drove me nuts. And it makes me so happy to see the organized media, because the crypto media sucks so bad. It just sucks. Like You nailed it. You took all of this angst I feel towards it, and you just put the perfect words to it. So thank you for that. Doc, you got any parting words for us, man?
Yeah, man. I just wanted to say thank you guys for bringing me on. I really appreciate it. Jack, known you for a long time, man, and it's been fucking amazing seeing just what you've done this past year alone. Like your blogs have always been really well worded, and just seeing that growth, going from blog writer to fucking to what founder of like Invaders, Rucoin, soon to be Joey. You created fucking Zalana or helped create Zalana. It's just been amazing to see that. Seeing Giga flourish in this community has been really fucking cool too. I just met him this year, and it's been amazing seeing Peace Love Music's journey. Even like that's been cool. Just watching that happen. I mean, I haven't talked with you enough, but we've been in enough spaces together. You know what I mean? And just
yeah, Doc, you're one of the first personalities I saw in the space. You're an absolute OG. You bring the vibe, man.
It's I mean, I'm like just seeing you guys in here, like I'm tearing up a little bit. Just a little bit. But and Mark, I my bad, dude. I don't know you enough. Like I haven't talked to you at all. Like this is my first time meeting you, dog. But like
we'll change that. We'll change that.
Meant a Bitcoin frog. Yeah, a Bitcoin Pepe. You know what I mean? Because I want that frog with the middle fingers up, for real.
Hey, there we go.
But seriously, thank you guys. And no, it's been a great space. And I'm gonna mute up and let you guys take it from here.
Well, thanks, Doc, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your collection come out. Like I said, I've gotten to see some of it. It's a cool style. It's a style we haven't seen yet, and it's really want to get this whitelisted to some different communities, because it's funny. It's funny and it's innovative, and hats off to you for putting it out there, and I can't wait to see what you do next. And seriously, thank you for always being a good friend, because like I said, you're one of the very first that first people I became friends with here. So thanks, dude, and looking forward to it. Thanks for coming. And peace. We're gonna. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I said, yeah, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Like I said, the collection's coming, and me and Giga had talked about doing some collabs afterwards. Still got brainstorm. There's just so much going on.
No, it's right. That's the thing, dude. Like most of us here have done this. Like it's like we work two jobs. You have your in real life stuff, and then you take as much time as you can dedicate to this because you love it, right? And with that in mind, peace, man. With some parting words for the audience and for the panel.
Thank you guys all. This has been a great discussion. Less familiar, but definitely familiar with everybody here. I've known Jack for a while now, and Giga Pepe too. Recently, actually, I've known Doc for a while. We just haven't had as much time to engage, but I love his stuff. And really excited to see his project come out. What Giga Pepe's working on, I love. I love the vibe of the Pepe's community, the Pepe coin community as well. Really love what I'm seeing coming out of there. Happy to have actually gotten a chance to engage with Mark a little bit more. We didn't mention actually, and we need to. We were talking about meme tokens, and we didn't mention really much the Rucoin community, which is just a great group of guys, another community that is super engaging. And I think that maybe the key to looking at meme tokens and meme token communities. If you feel like you would hang out and chat with those guys, if you don't hold any of those tokens and that's the people you just vibe with, those are the communities you want to get into. and if you're in a position to invest or buy some of the token because you want to support the community, then you do that because you like the community. Don't pick a meme coin because you think you're gonna suddenly make it rich. That's not the way to go. Find the people you like hanging with and get into it, and follow Deorganized BTC on Twitter X. We have a Monday through Friday show. We're doing our best to support everybody that's building and doing stuff in the Stacks ecosystem. Monday through Friday morning. I got Giga Pepe with me on Tuesdays. I got Jack with me on Fridays. I think I have a special guest coming on tomorrow morning, but I don't want to say it yet. Mark's going to, I think, come on my space on Wednesdays. We have a space at noon on Wednesday. I think Mark and Crypto Dude from Derupt is going to come and chat. And Jack and Giga Pepe come on almost every time anyway, so you can always almost guaranteed to hear them. And Doc, you're always welcome too, man. Come on out. We'll just keep having these conversations going.
I try, but the reason I haven't even been keeping up on the Stacks and Chill stuff for Stacks London lately is I've been so busy. Like I've picked up a side work after work. So like, and then once I get home, I'll just get to grinding on my collection and stuff lately. But like one of these nights, I'll definitely try and pop on for sure, though. I'll pop by whenever I can.
Always welcome when you can, sir. Always welcome when you can. But yeah, man, I'm bullish on the space. I love what we're building.
And yeah,
here.
This isn't Solana, guys. This isn't fucking Solana. We actually build communities here. We don't pump and dump.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
And dude, like, yeah, I always look forward to being on the spaces. And one of the most fun things, and you've been doing this long enough now to see this piece, like the way you network the builders and the way you get people to see what other people are building on, because anyone here can tell you when you're head down working on something, you can miss what everyone else is doing. And
even when you're doing what we're doing, and even when you're doing what we're doing, there's so much happening in this space. You said it the other morning, Jack. Like, you can't cover it all. I can't cover it all. There's so much going on. There's a lack of bandwidth, as far as so yeah, man. It's so how can the people that aren't trying to cover everything know what's going on? We just need to keep putting these people together as much as we can.
100%. And with that, we'll go ahead and I guess we'll say goodbye. This was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you all for coming. Obviously, you're all welcome to come back any chance you get. And anything that I can ever do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. And we do want to shout out Velar. These guys support the community 100%, and we appreciate them tremendously. So if you guys don't have anything else, I don't have anything else. Enjoy the rest of your day, and catch Pieces show early in the morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time. And let's have a good week, guys. Usually, give or take.
Yeah, we're on DJ time, so we'll see where we'll go when we're ready.
Right.
Y'all have a great Sunday. This was a good time.
All right. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.
All right.
What goes with that?